Hello and welcome back to 4FS Gaming. Today we are going to take a very close look at the Vanguard ability, which is the signature ability of the Assault class, including all variations on it. But before we do get stuck in, there is some very good news. At long last we have heard from DICE about the new Battlefront 2 progression system, and they have confirmed there will be no more loot boxes, and microtransactions will be cosmetic only. And in addition to this, you will be able to level up each class simply by playing it. Now this all sounds really great, but I'm going to hold off on talking too much about it until I actually see how it functions in practice in April, and that's when it's supposed to be rolled out. Hopefully alongside Season 2 as well, but that hasn't been announced yet. Now let's move on to the Vanguard. This is a really versatile ability, and there are 4 variations on it. The standard version gives you a slug thrower shotgun to run around with for a limited time. The Recharge Vanguard gives you the same weapon, except your other abilities are instantly recharged when you get a kill. Then there is Kill Streak Vanguard, which extends the ability's duration when you get kills, and then finally Slug Vanguard, and that modifies the weapon into a longer range solid slug weapon that fires a single heavy projectile. So there are 2 things that all of the Vanguard abilities have in common. First is that when the ability is active, you will be able to sprint faster. To see how much faster, we have a side-by-side comparison. Note that this does only affect sprinting speed, not walking or strafing speed. The second common trait is a cooldown period of 25 seconds before you can use the ability again. Note that Recharge Vanguard and Slug Vanguard can actually reduce this cooldown time if you have the upgraded star cards. However, the standard Vanguard and the Killstreak Vanguard are capped at 25 seconds minimum cooldown. Now let's talk about damage and range for the standard Vanguard shotgun. This is identical for the normal Vanguard, the Recharge Vanguard, and the Killstreak Vanguard. The shot deals a maximum of 252 base damage, and that's at point blank range if all of your pellets hit the target. As you move away from your target, the damage reduces significantly due to both range drop off and the fact that more individual shards will miss and go wide. We can see here how the spread of the weapon increases the further away you are. Another interesting point is that aiming in with the weapon will slightly tighten the spread, but not by much. At medium to long range, the slug thrower is almost completely useless. This is where the Slug Vanguard is a bit different, because it fires a single projectile, not a spread of pellets. This projectile will deal 120 damage as a base, and it holds that damage up to a decent range. However, beyond medium range it will be reduced to 80 damage. Regardless, if you land a headshot, the 1.9 times damage modifier means that the Slug Vanguard will be able to instantly kill any trooper with a headshot. And you'll find that even at long ranges, all but the heavy troopers can fall from a single well-placed slug. For me, this is probably by far the most satisfying configuration of the Vanguard, but it's also the hardest to use, as you must be accurate with the slug even at close ranges. Another factor that separates the 4 Vanguard types is how long the ability stays active. Now if you don't shoot at all, the base Vanguard has a duration of 25 seconds. However, the Recharge and Slug Vanguard have durations of 17 seconds, while the Killstreak Vanguard has a very short duration of 12.5 seconds. Now in addition, every time you shoot the slug thrower, it will further decrease this duration, so you should avoid firing unless you intend to actually hit a target. This seems like a pretty good time to talk about Killstreak Vanguard's special effect, and that will extend its duration each time you get a kill. The amount you get back barely covers the duration lost for firing the weapon, and in order to make it effective you really need to be running the epic star card. Even then, unless you are doing a lot of killing very quickly, you will probably still run out of duration faster than normal Vanguard even if you get 3 or 4 kills, simply because the base duration is so low. So which is the best Vanguard to use? To be honest, the base ability is very strong without any upgrades at all. It has by far the longest duration, so it's good for sprinting around and holding tight areas. And the best bit is that you don't use up any star card slots. The Recharge Vanguard is probably a close second. This is because being able to throw grenades in quick succession after each kill gives you a lot of firepower, and you can also upgrade the star card to reduce the cooldown time. The same can be said for Slug Vanguard. This upgrade will also be able to reduce the cooldown time, but it makes the ability much harder to use. That being said, if you're accurate and a really good shooter, you're going to be a lot deadlier from a lot further away. Just remember to lead your targets, as it does fire an actual projectile with travel time. To finish off, we have a few more general tips to help you get the most out of this ability. You may have noticed that irritating cooldown animation as the duration of Vanguard ends. Well, if you cancel the ability by pressing the activation buttons again, you will instantly ready your primary weapon. So if you do this just before the ability ends, you can skip that 1 second or so of downtime so you can get straight back to shooting. Also, you should really be using third person when using Vanguard. You'll notice that I often play in first person for the immersion of, being in Star Wars, but for this ability it really does help if you go into third person perspective and hug the cover, exposing yourself around trees, rocks and corners for just enough time to shoot. Finally, you really don't have to shoot at all when using Vanguard. If you want to take that 25 seconds of increased sprint speed, then it is just a great way of getting back to an objective, to contest it, or just getting back into a fight faster. I've even been able to save myself quite a few times as well, just by using that extra speed to avoid fire when on low health. Oh, and that's right, in case you didn't know, Vanguard works pretty great against heroes, dealing incredible burst damage up close. And that just about wraps it up. We are going to try and stream a bit more regularly here at 4FS Gaming, so if you want to know when we are going live and what we are up to, please follow us on our Twitter account, where we will be able to give you all of the updates you need without spamming your YouTube notifications. The link will be in the description below. We have also started up a Discord server, so if you want to chat to us about anything at all, the invitation will also be in the description. Thank you so much for watching. This is Ascendance from 4FS Gaming.